Hi, this is Harry Welty. This is an experiment in marketing. In my case, marketing my thoughts, my experiences, and my ability to write a book. Those of you who have been following my school board campaign know that to raise funds for lawn signs, for mailings, things of that sort, I am trying to hawk a book that I'm in the process of writing, and I think I'll be finished writing it in about another 2 months, and then I'm going to mail out to anybody who orders it. About $15. If I have 200 people that order $15 a book by $15, then I'll be able to pay for my campaign and the printing and some other stuff besides. I'm not perhaps your typical candidate for public office. I run more than anybody else, I'm sure, in the history of Duluth, file for office, and frequently lose. And I wrote a book in 1992 just to see if I could do it. And I decided maybe I could use it to sell, to run for Congress, of all things. This is it, by the way. It's called Visit to the Addict. It's backwards to me as I look at this myself in the cell phone. And it's got dinosaurs in it. It was meant to be a young person's adventure novel, but unfortunately the problem was when I wrote it, I was just being too autobiographical. Let me read the come on that I have in this thing for people to help finance my congressional campaign. By the way, I got 7% of the vote in that particular race in 1992. Here it is. There's the blurb. Me with a funny hat, the one I use when I snow sculpt usually. Harry Welty's first law of politics is tell the voters what you think. His second law is don't tell the voters what they want to hear. Not surprisingly, Harry has lost almost as many elections as his hero, Abraham Lincoln. 4 years ago, when Harry lost his teaching job too, he decided that it was time to test Voltaire's pen theory. The problem was that Harry couldn't write worth beans. Years earlier, he couldn't even bring himself to write thank you notes to his maiden aunts for all the aftershave lotion they gave him at Christmas because he didn't want them to know how poorly he wrote. But man or woman with ideas is useless without the power of the pen, or in this case, a word processor. So here he began to write. He wrote about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs have been a lifelong passion, and considering his interest in Congress, a particularly apt metaphor for the fossils on Capitol Hill. Now, ironically, Harry is running against one of them. This particular specimen will probably spend $1 million to stay in Washington. No wonder this fossil has never been seriously challenged in 9 previous general elections. But if Harry can sell enough books, he'll be able to finance the first serious congressional campaign his district has seen in half a century. That's Voltaire for you. I have been a writer since I started writing that. My daughter was in 2nd grade at the time, and I read the book. It's not great. In fact, she just reread it not long ago and said, Harry, Dad, you needed an editor. I hope you edit the book that you're writing now. But I've been reading the 182 columns that I've sent in the Duluth Reader over the last 17, 18 years. And by gosh, I've laughed at some of them. I've thought, gosh, I write pretty well. And some of them are going to find their way into this book that I'm hawking for $15. At any rate, this is just my attempt to entice people to read this book. It's all about my experiences in education with my fantastic writing ability. And I really ought to read a letter I discovered, I forgot about, that somebody sent me. It was a former student of mine who just loved something that I'd written. It made her laugh like the Dickens, and it reminded her how naughty she had been as a kid. And she sort of apologized to me and said she couldn't wait to come and see my writing. Well, that was the best testimony I think I've ever gotten, or the best testimonial. I think you're going to enjoy this book. $15. If nothing else, you can keep it as a first edition. Only going to be 500, I think, in the first printing. And you can say that guy that sculpted snow sculptures offered you a book for $15 and you bought it, and it'll have a couple of pictures of snow sculptures in it. But mostly it's about education and my perhaps unorthodox or inspired or something like that notion about what education is all about. So there is going to be a button at the bottom of this little video, and I would encourage you to punch it, because you'll be able to donate $15 or even more dollars to my campaign. If you donate a little bit more than $15, I'll be able to maybe use that money for campaigning and not just printing the books. Anyway, I'm signing off. It's late at night. Hope this experiment works. Auf Wiedersehen.